It is Thursday, April the 29th, 2021. Good morning, I'm Pearson Bowen with the CBC Morning Report. Well, history is likely to be created as the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games could be the first ever to ban spectators. As of yesterday, no one other than those on the various Olympic Games contingents will be allowed to in Tokyo for the Summer Olympiad owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. The local organizing committee released the updated playbook yesterday, and no spectators from outside Japan will be allowed, and the decision on Japanese spectators is also still pending. Organizers are at this point very open to blanking spectators, and Director of the Barbados Olympic Association, Dr. Adrian Lord, says it's an understandable option.
We don't know yet if there will be spectators. That decision will be made in June of this year. A playbook came out yesterday, April 28th. It's the second playbook by a group of persons, the local organizing committee, the World Health Organization, International Olympic Committee, and the International Paralympic Committee. They've been looking and they put out this book, and there have been modifications. And their recommendation at this time is no spectators. But that is going to not make the games what the games really are. It is necessary at this time. Only 1% of the Japanese population at this time have been vaccinated against COVID-19. It is a pandemic, and we're having countries from all over the world. And we need to minimize the contact. We wouldn't want to have any persons having the worsening the situation in Japan or taking back to their countries COVID-19 when they return. If there are no spectators, then of course that would be a deterrent because we're going to limit the spectators if there are any. But yes, I would hope that athletes will want to go to the games despite these recommendations and regulations in place, because it is what it is. This is what the world is now, and they're being competing without spectators in some of the training and some of the competitions, the qualifying competitions, and this will just be another, which means CBC TV and television coverage will be even more important so that we can see what's going on in Tokyo 2020, happening in 2021.
Well, Dr. Lord says the playbook is very stringent and he hopes it's extended beyond just the participants and the support staff.
2 COVID-19 tests before coming, one 96 hours before, one 72 hours before. You must show the certificate. The athletes are advised to be in a bubble before they come in the last 14 days and observe themselves for any temperatures or any symptoms of COVID-19 before they come. And there are several other regulations that have been put in place. Because they want to make this a safe games. They said avoid crowded places, avoid close contact, and avoid confined places, the 3 C's. And that is what is being put in place. It is a necessary evil. And if we want to perform on a world stage, that is being done. And it's being recommended in other games. I mean, you would not have heard what the protocols for CRIFTA games are, but they will be there's a plan for daily testing there too. In Bermuda, if that does come off in August 13th to 15th. So yes, daily tests, but these tests will be saliva tests, not the nasopharyngeal tests. If they are positive, then you need the PCR test, and of course there'll be a 14-day quarantine, which could cause problems for some of the teams because someone would need to stay with that person. And the other thing that they've implemented, that there must be a CLO, a compliance liaison officer with every team, who will be responsible for the team to get all the information from the local organizing committee and ensure that all the protocols are followed during the Olympics. My concern, though, is not only for the athletes, but what about the workforce? I know that the officials will be staying in the bubble as well, but as you know, from the games that you've gone to before, there are independent workforces, the sponsors, and so on, and they, I hope, will have to either be vaccinated or be tested on a daily basis as well.
The morning report continues after this break. Of COVID-19 were diagnosed by the Best of Santos Public Health Lab on Tuesday, April the 27th. The new cases comprised 3 females and 4 males and were identified from among 317 tests conducted. Meanwhile, 9 people recovered from the virus and were discharged. There are now 96 people in isolation. Since March 2020, confirmed cases of COVID-19 have reached 3,838, comprising of 1,870 females, 1,968 males, and 3,759 people have recovered. The number of deaths so far are 44. To date, the Public Health Lab has conducted 152,716 tests, a total of 73,808 vaccinations to 30,461 men and 43,347 women have been administered under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19. Well, by the end of this week, Guyana should have vaccinated 50% of the adult population against COVID-19. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony remains optimistic, as we hear now in this NCN report.
The minister is hoping that the batch of 38,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines expected through the World Health Organization's COVAX facility will arrive in Guyana before May. According to Dr. Anthony, the ministry has already vaccinated 25% of Guyana's adult population with the first dose and is working to vaccinate 50% by the end of the week. The health minister again emphasized that the vaccines being used are all safe.
Vaccines that we have in Guyana are very safe. These vaccines, we have 3 that we are working with: AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, and the Sputnik V. These vaccines have gone through a process of clinical trials. So they've been 3 different types of clinical trials, and they've all been found to be efficacious and safe. And then all of these vaccines have now been used around the world.
Further, he said the Sinopharm vaccine will be examined by the World Health Organization later this month.
The Sinopharm vaccine is going to be at the WHO on the 29th, where the expert group would be looking at that particular vaccine, and more than likely they would give approval, WHO approval. So these vaccines have gone through very rigorous approval process.
To date, some 124,000 first dose and 2,800 second dose of the COVID vaccines have been administered.
India's death toll from COVID-19 has crossed the grim milestone of 200,000 as the country continues to face shortages of hospital beds, medical oxygen and other essential supplies.
After failing to find help at medical facilities, family members of COVID-19 patients bring them to a tent outside a Sikh temple on the outskirts of Delhi. Volunteers here are providing oxygen for free, often driving long distances to find stockists.
We are searching oxygen all over India, all over Delhi, to Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Haridwar, Jaipur, and all our nearby cities from 200-400 kilometers far.
Family members of patients too have travelled for hours to bring them here.
It has taken 2.5 hours for me to commute from my place and come here for this oxygen, so I cannot take back her without an oxygen. So I have to give it to her no matter how much time it takes. I have to wait here.
India is seeing shortages not only of oxygen but of hospital beds, diagnostic tests and vaccines. Vaccination centres in the worst affected state, Maharashtra, ran out of doses again on Wednesday.
They're telling us that injections aren't available here as vaccines haven't arrived. I registered to come here 3 days ago, all the way from Chembur to Bandra. I only found out after coming here there's no proper information. They tell us to call the helpline number and come back in the morning.
The World Health Organization says the low rate of vaccinations is one of the reasons for India's surge in cases. The US is sending raw materials so India can manufacture more of its own vaccines, and many countries are sending oxygen and other medical supplies. While crematoriums work day and night to keep up with demand, mass cremations have become the norm. The crematorium behind me has been working from 6 in the morning until midnight, but because it doesn't have enough pyres to cremate the bodies which are being brought every day, it had to build 20 in the park next to it, and now these 50 in this open space. Those who've lost family members say they went through the same struggle to cremate their loved ones as they did finding them a hospital bed when they were alive.
Well, coming up when you join me right here on Morning Barbados, we will today, as usual, on a Thursday morning, we'll be sharing with you some exceptional young people, all who are determined to have their names on history page. One of them, a young Barbadian female model who has stepped onto her stage, and she is now modeling for a major global brand. We'll hear her story. Another one who's 7 years old, who had the chance to speak to some NASA astronauts, and she posed a question. How special is that? We'll hear from her a little later on. But today at the Barbados Light and Power Company, there's a very special celebration, and so we're happy to be joined by them soon to share what that celebration is, and you'll get to hear it when you join me on Morning Barbados. The Morning Report continues after this break. Barbadians will soon have the opportunity to be part owners of a transformed local sugar industry. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Indar Ware expects they'll be able to purchase shares in the Barbados Agricultural Management Company by 2025, the timeline envisaged for the BAMC to become a profitable entity.
This new entity will be called BESCO and is already a work in progress, and we should start to see changes taking place in the industry so that all Barbadians will benefit from our sugar industry and give us a chance to be owners in an industry that have served us over decades.
Minister Ware says Barbados can no longer just be a producer of bulk sugar that is exported at substantial losses to the BAMC.
Going forward, the industry will no longer be producing bulk sugar for export, but has already started the process of transformation by producing sugar for domestic consumption and sugar for export for direct consumption in the international markets. Our focus is also on the production of molasses for the rum industry of Barbados, as well as making sure we take advantage of the opportunities that are available in renewable energy. The byproducts of the factory will also be used to produce fertilizers, giving the industry for the first time in its history an opportunity for value chain development right through the entire value chain system.
With climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic among the challenges confronting workers in Barbados, any response must be built around preventing negative impacts. This assessment from Minister of Labour Colin Jordan. He made the comment as he participated in an International Labour Organization Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean virtual event to mark World Day for Health and Safety at Work 2021.
The structures we have to build are structures to prevent exploitation of workers, to prevent violence and harassment in the world of work. We have to have structures and systems that address occupational safety and health in situations where there are flexible work arrangements, like teleworking. And these structures and systems must hold together our social fabric and strengthen our existing institutions.
The lone female among Barbados' national heroes has been celebrated with the launch of a new book at the Barbados Museum. Shane Jones has more.
Today marks Barbados' 24th National Heroes Day, the first coming on April 28, 1998, which was the centenary of the birth of Sir Grantley Adams. On that day, Sarah Ann Gill, who was a social and religious leader in Barbados during the era of slavery, became a national hero, the only woman among the 10 named.
Sarah Ann Gill was a social and religious leader in Barbados during the days of slavery.
And now she has been further immortalized through this Professor Alan Cobley book, Ann Gill, The Making of a Barbadian National Hero. During the book launch, the author said, with a discussion now surrounding adding to the pantheon of national heroes, it is important to reflect on the contribution they have made to society. He said there is now new knowledge about Sarah Ann Gill.
And this is due to some very painstaking archival research by historians like Pat Stafford, Woodville Marshall, and others. So this research has given us the opportunity to correct some factual errors about her and to fill in some details about her life that were not previously known. The third reason to embark on this project is that we now know a lot more today about the society she lived in than we did 20 years ago. Barbados in the early 19th century was a very complex and challenging place to live in for free people of colour like Ann Gill. And we've had some important work on this aspect of Barbadian history from people like Melanie Newton, Pedro Welsh, and so on. So this work allows us to give a much clearer understanding of the life Ann Gill lived and the challenges she faced.
In praising the book, Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with Responsibility for Culture, John King, said these types of publications help to shape national identity.
For you, Professor Cobley, everyone who has been involved, Ms. Innes, everybody else, that in your own way, I consider you to be your own heroes. And I thank you very much for this. Because the more we learn about ourselves, the better it is for us.
The book is part of a series which makes new knowledge about Barbados and Barbadians accessible.
Well, Barbadians now have an opportunity to delve deeply into the history of one of the island's main tertiary institutions. This through the new book entitled The Barbados Community College Experience, Leading the Anglophone Caribbean in a Global Movement, written by Professor Vivienne Roberts. Professor Roberts says BCC was established to fill a critical demand for higher education and training.
There was all-round ambivalence about what the institution would be and could do. However, its advocate, Erskine Lloyd Sandiford, now Sir Lloyd, was equally clear about its major purpose, a dual function of post-secondary education for transfer to university, as well as a means of addressing manpower development for the workplace.
launched yesterday. Speaking during the virtual event, former Governor General of St. Lucia, Dame Perlette Louisi, noted that the BCC was a model for community colleges across the region.
Given the 2020 vision that hindsight affords, the college proudly claims the pioneer role that it has played in the development of the community college model in the Anglophone Caribbean. What the region has gained is the establishment of multiple models of tertiary education provision in more than 20 national institutions, opening up access to thousands over the past 50 years.
The local fashion fraternity has been thrown into mourning with the unexpected passing of well-known Barbadian designer Rojo. Roland Rojo Bascom died on Tuesday at the age of 54, triggering an outpouring of love from hundreds across social media platforms. His brother, David D2 Davis, told us he will be sorely missed.
Rojo was more than a brother to me. Rojo was my mentor, a man that I looked up to in the absence of a father, as my big brother, as my friend. Rojo showed that he was talented from a very young age when he made the football shirts for the Wharton football team. He was around the age of 18, and he did that without having any prior training or anything in tailoring. Rojo, man, this is really heavy for me. Really heavy for me. It was totally unexpected, and yeah, Barbados lost one of its most naturally gifted and creative sons in Rojo.
A Venezuelan national, has been identified as the carrier of the first case of the Brazilian variant of COVID-19 in that country. This as the country recorded 5 more cases of the variant already this week. Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh says the Ministry of Health there is looking at all possible ways the variant could have entered, including Venezuelan migration. He also disclosed that the University of the West Indies Policy on Genomics is testing all positive repatriated people. In that regard, there have been 284 positive samples based on repatriated nationals sent for testing for the variant of concern. Federal investigators executed a search warrant at the Manhattan home of former President Donald Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani yesterday. The former New York City mayor has been under investigation for several years now over his business dealings in Ukraine. It comes as the Justice Department continues its investigation into the staunch Trump ally.
The FBI is looking into Giuliani's foreign dealings in Ukraine. He's also facing ethics charges over his efforts to overturn Trump's loss in last year's U.S. presidential election. Let's get more now from Gabriel Elizondo, who's live for us in New York. Hey, Gabe, what more do we know at this point?
Well, this raid by federal investigators of Giuliani's apartment here in New York City came unexpected. There was no warning of this, that it was going to be taking place, and there is no activity outside of Giuliani's apartment at this very moment. There are journalists outside. We've seen no signs of Giuliani himself or any of his associates coming or going from his apartment. So that is what the scene is there right now. But that is not unexpected. Usually federal agents would do these raids very quietly, and according to sources within federal agency departments that have been speaking to the Associated Press and the New York Times, that this was a raid that was conducted at some point earlier on Wednesday of Giuliani's home. It's unclear at this point what, if anything, was taken from his apartment, but this is certainly an extraordinary development. It's very rare for federal agents to conduct a search warrant such as this, especially for such a high-profile person such as Rudy Giuliani, and they would have to do so with the authorization of a federal judge. So clearly they got that, and in order to get that authorization to perform such a search warrant, they would need to convince a federal judge that they have enough evidence of possible, keyword possible, criminal activity for against Rudy Giuliani. So clearly a major escalation by the investigators that have been investigating possible wrongdoing by Rudy Giuliani for nearly 2 years now.
Gabriel, give us some context to this. Remind us how Giuliani has got to this point and what sort of legal challenges he could possibly be facing.
Yeah, it's important to point out that Giuliani has not been charged with any crime at this very juncture, and federal officials are not speaking about this raid at all, or specifically why they conducted it. However, this all stems back from Giuliani's dealings with the Ukraine officials, potentially illegally lobbying on the behalf of Ukraine officials, while also working for President Donald Trump, while also pressuring for the ouster of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. All of this combined could lead to a whole host of potential criminal activity. Of course, Rudy Giuliani, a longtime personal friend of Donald Trump dating back decades, former mayor of New York City, a very flamboyant character, and still very much involved with Donald Trump in his post-presidency, not only as his personal lawyer, but Trump also assigned Giuliani to play a lead role in what he called this fraudulent election, incorrectly calling it a fraudulent election in November. And Giuliani was very much out front and center pushing that false claim.
In sports now, despite government's recent ease on COVID protocols to allow sports teams to practice, the Barbados Cricket Association is asking its member clubs and schools to hold strain. The BCA says it's in the process of receiving permission from the Ministry of Health regarding the resumption of training and for the 2021 BCA domestic season. Until then, all clubs and schools are asked to refrain from commencing training at their venues until the BCA advises them to do so. Meanwhile, the BCA has put forward 3 possible scenarios for having a domestic season this year. Mark Seal now reports.
Option number 1 calls for the playing of all formats and competitions starting on June 2nd and ending on December 19th. In addition, the intermediate and second division teams participating in the Shield 40 Over and the Shield T20 competitions will play separate Shield and Plate tournaments. Option number 2 has all formats and competitions starting from July 3rd and ending on January 2022. That's when the finals of the lower division 3-day and 2-day leagues will be scheduled. Now, due to the July start and the time left in the remainder of the year, all 3-day and 2-day leagues will be reduced to 5 series only, with semi-finals and finals playing after the preliminaries. Now, this option also places the elite and first division 3-day teams in 2 zones in each division to accommodate the playing of those 5 series. A final will be played at the end of the preliminary rounds to determine the winners of each division. Now, option number 3 has the season beginning August 7th and running until November 6th, only in a T20 format, which is similar to the one played last year. The BCA says it is committed to having a full domestic season, which allows for all clubs and schools to play as much cricket as possible, but there are some determining factors. Those include the directives of the government of Barbados as far as playing of sports is concerned. Secondly, getting feedback from clubs and schools as far as the ashfall is concerned and the cleanup of that ashfall. And thirdly, early consultation with the said clubs and schools on all of these matters.
Thank you, Mark. Time for us to take a look at forecast conditions from the Met Office this morning. Outside looks slightly gloomy. You know how it is now. You've looked out your window. You can see it for yourself. That's the view from our cam outside right here at the CBC. Little traffic on the road, but nevertheless, it's going to be a great day today. At the moment, under partly cloudy conditions, it's 27 degrees Celsius, and it's now coming from the east-southeast winds at 27 kilometers an hour. Heading to the seas today, expect 1, a low tide at 11:32, 28 to 12 noon, another at 24 minutes after 11 tonight, and we have a low tide coming around at 8 minutes after 6 this evening. Seas are predicted to be calm to moderate in open waters, swells up to 1.5 meters and remaining steady. Barbados today and tonight. Mostly cloudy to overcast with occasional intermittent scattered light to moderate showers, periods of rain, and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. For the Lesser Antilles, mostly cloudy to overcast with occasional intermittent scattered light to moderate showers today. And forecast for the Lesser Antilles tonight, mostly cloudy to overcast with occasional scattered light to moderate showers and a low chance of an isolated thunderstorm. Here's a look at your international cities. That's it for today's Morning Report. I'm Pearson Bowen.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thursday the 29th of April 2021, the day after a public holiday. A number of you are confused as to what day in the week it is. It's Thursday. And because it's Thursday, you know today we'll be celebrating our exceptional youth, one of who is known as Mr. Shaw University. Why? How did he get that title? What does it really mean? How has he really been impacting his university experience? We'll talk to him. And there's another young lady who is dancing her way through life to success. She will be sharing her rather inspiring story as well. They and a whole lot more will be joining me for our exceptional youth segments this morning on Morning Barbados. But let's get started by looking at another outstanding set of work by the Barbados Light and Power Company right here in this beautiful island. And so we're joined this morning by Natalie Abrams, who is the Director, Shared Services and Pandemic Lead for Barbados Light and Power Company. And then there's my friend, Jackie Marshall-Clark, who is the Manager of Communications and Government Relations, Barbados Light and Power. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Good morning to you, my friend.
Thank you for recognizing. Now listen, I trust both of you would have had a very lovely National Heroes Day yesterday.
Absolutely. I certainly did.
That's great.
I did, Kirsten.
That is great to hear. Now, recognizing our heroes is not stopping because April 28th has gone, because today at the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited, you're going to be embarking on something really fantastic. You are recognizing your own unsung heroes at the Barbados Light and Power Company. So, Jackie, to start with you, why are you doing this year?
Well, we are recognizing, and let me tell you exactly why. First of all, I thoroughly enjoyed your programming yesterday as I listened to everything about our 10 significant heroes and their contributions, things I had forgotten. It was really good. And then I enjoyed social media yesterday as well, as people recognize our everyday heroes. And people talked about everybody on the front line during this whole COVID-19 pandemic. They talked about the gas station attendants. They talked about the cashiers. And I enjoyed that because I recognize that people know that heroes don't come in capes. They're heroes all around us. You just said you've got the lives of some young people who are doing heroic things in their own way. So emanating out of all of that yesterday, Pearson, we thought that at Barbados Light and Power, we should make today BLPC Heroes Day. Listen, we've got a lot of guys and gals who have worked so hard over the past few months in situations that we never anticipated. And they're all delivered and came out well for us. As a matter of fact, when we think of some of their personal situations, their young children at home, elderly folk, aches and pains, their own health situations. And no matter what, when the call came, day or night, rain or shine, our employees turned up for us. So guess what? It's a surprise. They don't know. And so today, here with you, first of all, we are announcing to them and to Barbadians and to all of Barbados that we are recognizing our BLPC heroes today. We have designated today BLPC Heroes Day.
That is such a warm feeling for any employee to have, you know, because sometimes organizations often forget the hard work that staff would put in over trying times. And these are not normal times. I'm going to come to you, Natalie. You know, I want to look at how the BPLC has been managing through this time in terms of, you know, the changing ways that people were either from home, you know, they were working part on plant, part off plant. How have you guys been managing this?
Yes, well, as Jackie said, you know, we don't get to pause. In fact, at BLPC, we actually hit fast forward more so than anything else. Pretty early on in March, it became clear that this was not going to be something that we would just read about. It was definitely going to impact our island. And so we dusted off our pandemic plans and we started thinking through how do we treat with our vulnerable employees who may have, as Jackie indicated, personal circumstances. And certainly, how do we treat with our critical and frontline staff who are likely to be more exposed than others? Very early on, we would have decided that we would move as many persons as possible who could work from home into the work from home environment. And that was really for two reasons. So one, we were following the guidance both internationally and locally in terms of minimizing persons' interactions to stop the spread. But also, by the very nature of what we do, we are an essential service. And so we have to have persons who come out regardless of what's happening. So persons who come out to the plant, come out to our sites, go out in the field. And we felt as though the best way to keep them safe and safeguard those persons was to minimize the number of persons on site at any time that are interacting with them and possibly exposing them. So really, it was a twofold decision for us. And with the persons who stayed on site and had to stay on site, one of the very first things we did is we spent a lot of time developing protocols around how those persons would interact with customers, each other, what PPE they should have to remain safe, social distancing protocols, and so on, to keep them as safe as possible, even though they're on site and out in the field. That was one of the very first things that we did. And, you know, we're quite pleased to say that we credit that with the low employee impact we've had thus far in relation to COVID-19. And then we had the work from homers. That adaptation was also, you know, admirable and really nothing short of amazing, both teams. So for the work from homers, they now had to transition to working outside of the typical office environment, getting settled, comfortable, balancing home requirements, possibly sharing a space with families that would not normally be a concern. We had to make sure that those employees had the tools and the equipment that they needed to be able to function remotely as well. And it's interesting, for those persons, they've reported, you know, a bleeding of the workday into the personal time, because you really may not get up from your desk. You may have your lunch and your meal at that same space and keep going. Also, they've adapted to, you know, removing that human interaction and replacing that with video calls, much like what we're doing now. That's become part and parcel of their day. Both teams have adapted to change that would normally take years in a matter of months. And we've been working this way since, I like to say this with my team all the time, the 23rd of March, 2020. Huge adaptation and fabulous, fabulous response from our people. Nothing short of amazing.
So it's, the pandemic has really put us squarely into trying to do things differently, but it must be down to the bottom line of the business. How can you track that, and what have you been finding?
Well, what we've noticed, actually, I mean, one of the main concerns, certainly talking to my colleagues in other businesses, you know, you read the literature, one of the main concerns is that when there is any disruption to the work model or the work arrangements, you anticipate a drop in productivity, a drop in effectiveness, a drop in morale. Now, we have been so privileged, and it's one of the reasons why we felt to do Heroes Day today. We've been so privileged that we haven't had many of those experiences. Our deliverables continue to be met. Our customer needs continue to be met. We continually engage with our customers and our staff to ensure that that is the case. We do internal pulse surveys to check in on how people are feeling. We reach out to our customers. Our customer care team that has been working remotely stays available to our customers so we can pulse how we're doing in that regard as well. So it's another reason why we have to recognize our people. We have not suffered many of those impacts in terms of productivity or morale.
Jackie, you know, the pandemic has been one little bit of a stumbling block, but then the ashfall came around to compound matters even further. And a lot of times people see the Light and Power as coming to my pole, coming to my house, making sure I get what I want done. How has your team really been responding in spite of all of these natural environment conditions?
Tremendously, and we are so appreciative. And I'm glad you turned to the customer because I want to say a little bit from a customer's perspective. So let me answer your question first. You know, I think this is where I left off a conversation with Shane a few weeks ago when he asked about how my guys coping. They cope admirably, and it's because they're so trained and prepared for circumstances, whatever the weather, whatever, they are trained. And of course, safety comes first at all times. And so when you see the guys out and doing what they have to do for the customer, they, under their best judgment, and then with the best will and intent in the world, those guys deliver on service. So COVID, then came ashfall, then came working with all the ash around them and the complaints that the drivers, you know, kept going through the dust and it was really uncomfortable. But you know what? They continue to turn up and show up for the customer and deliver the service. I want to just say a little bit for the customer because people may feel all of this as Light and Power and what we did on the outside, but let me tell you exactly what you saw. We continued our radio program every month, and instead of having to go to the studio to record it, we all recorded it from home where we lived. That was one change. One of the things that we did differently is we would call the customer ahead of time and say, I'm on my way. So don't come out, don't open the door to meet us because you must keep safe and I must keep safe. Greet us, we're there. And if we need you, we'll call inside. If you have to, open the gate before we get there. We reduced the number of guys traveling in trucks. And you know what? We provided transportation for all our employees as they had to come and go to work during the pandemic so that they didn't have to get public transportation and interact more than they have to, because as we protected them, we tried to help them protect the others on the inside. Oh yes, all that we did knowing that we had to deliver a service that was paramount to our customers.
Now that's a very caring employee. So part of the care then today is your own Heroes Day. I was going to say National Heroes Day. Maybe it's going to become so. You know, so how is today going to play out at the Light and Power Company today?
Natalie, should we reveal any of the secrets
Please
today?
do, yes.
Well,
I don't know, maybe one or two, Jackie, one or two.
Well, first of all, we're starting here, so they don't know. So hopefully many of them are seeing. People will tell them. Every newspaper that they open today, they would see a big thank you from all of us. Everybody will be getting their WhatsApp messages saying thanks. We've encouraged all our managers to say thank you in whatever way they deem fit. And at the end of the day, there is going to be a message from the MD. And you know what? There's going to be a give back. Nothing more.
You've shared a lot. I'm so pleased with the activity going on there. So I really want to thank you, ladies, and commend you really on what feels like a really warm company that cares. And that's so important to the relationship between company and employee, that you at least feel as though you're recognized and you're appreciated for whatever little you do, whatever little that is. And so I want to commend you on all the work you continue to do to effect real change at the Light and Power Company, because we feel it too. We see the work you do and we are very appreciative of the work we do. And how do we know? Fewer blackouts, fewer outages, fewer everything, and we just see the team rolling and getting on with the task at hand every single day. So a big thank you to you and your team as well. So thank you, Natalie Abrams, Director of Shared Services and Pandemic Lead, and Jackie Marshall-Clark, who is the Manager of Communications and Government Relations, both with the Light and Power Company, and best of luck with today's activities.
Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Oh, what a very strong way to start this morning. We're going to take a break right here and we're back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We have 14 and a half minutes now to go to 7 o'clock here on this Thursday edition of Morning Barbados. Yes, there are some very exceptional young people who are going to be coming to our screen, and I know that as you do every Thursday from wherever you are in the world, you really give them your support. So this morning we say good morning to all of you on our Facebook stream at CBC Barbados. Thank you so much for joining us there. And if you've opted instead to go to our YouTube channel, which is Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, you spell it out, Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, and you're watching us there as well. So good having you company. Thank you so much for joining us this Thursday morning. And don't forget, you'll have an opportunity as well today to win with Crumbs Bakery. That's coming up soon, our Crumbs question of the day. We'll also give the little ones a chance to spell it in 30 seconds, and they'll get a chance to win compliments of Pediasure. And we invite you throughout the day to take a break with Charles Chocolate. You know, open up your world to Charles. But let's get started with our exceptional youth today. We want to go all the way over to the United States to meet this young man. His name is Jerome Boyce. He's a student at Shaw University in the U.S. Good morning to you, Jerome.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
I am doing well today, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
That's good to hear. Now listen, they're telling me that you are known as Mr. Shaw University. What does that mean?
Yes, sir, I am. So Mr. Shaw University is basically the face of the university. So he's a part of the Royal Court, which is a department of the Student Government Association. So I'm basically the figurehead of the university, and I represent the school. I'm basically the face of the campus. I represent the school at major events during homecoming, in front of the school's e-board, and also in front of the president and other alumni.
So how did you attain that position?
So before becoming Mr. Shaw, I served as Mr. Juniors, where I served as the representative for the junior class. But before that, I was interested in, in Student Government Association, and I wasn't necessarily interested, in becoming like royalty, but I did like college runway and stuff when I was at Harrison College. So I decided, I'll give it a shot.
And so far, so good. Now, like any other student, you could have gone to university, kept your head low, focused on your studies, and just move on to the end. But you instead chose to get actively involved in the life of the campus there. Where do you think that interest in that kind of work came from?
I believe it came from, so I would go back to my freshman year. It started with my friend Ian. He's from the Bahamas. And he was in the school band. Mm-hmm. And I was a student athlete. I ran cross country and I played soccer for Shaw University. And we were often saying, we just do our respective sports and then we just go to class. And we wanted to do something more than that, just to play our sports and then go to class. So we started the Shaw International Students Association. And that is what really started it all, because he's now the current student government president. I'm now Mr. Shaw University. That's what really kicked it off. And then from there, I joined Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, where I now serve as the chapter president for the Barbados chapter. And then, went on to all the other accolades I listed, part of Chi Alpha Sigma, Honor Society for Student Athletes. I'm also a part of the Shaw University Honors College. And the list goes on. Like, that is what really kickstarted it. We had that conversation freshman year. We said, you know what, we want to do more than just go to school and play our sports.
Wow, you're becoming a more rounded person. That's fantastic. So you're studying, what are you studying? What are you going to be majoring in?
I am majoring in computer science.
Mm-hmm. Why computer science?
This is actually a funny story as well. My parents always told me that from the time I was a little kid, I could work the VCR before I could walk. So technology was always in my blood. I always had a likeness for tech, mm-hmm. and I believe that was my passion. So when I came through Harrison College and stuff, and I started learning about computer science and we started coding and stuff, I said, you know what, this is something that I'm actually pretty good at, and that's where my love for computer science really started.
When the other students heard your accent, I'm sure they stopped for just a moment and thought, who are you? Where are you coming from? What kinds of questions, how inquisitive were they about the way you sounded?
They actually were very inquisitive. A lot of them used to mistake me for being Bahamian because we have a big Bahamian population at my school. I'm the only Barbadian on campus, for the exemption of second generation Barbadian. But I'm really the only Barbadian on campus. So my freshman year, everybody used to ask me, "Oh, which part of the Bahamas you're from?" Like, I'm not from the Bahamas. I'm from Barbados. Yeah, so that was the thing. But there are like a couple other Barbadians in my area, at some other universities close by. So now that they're here in the area, it makes it a little easier to say, "Hey, I'm from Barbados. Do you know this person from that school? They're from Barbados too." So it makes it a little easier.
How is it though settling in, being the only Barbadian? And because it's natural as a human being, we want to herd. And when you look around, you don't see someone who sounds like you. It feels a little off-putting. How is it for you settling in?
It does feel a little off-putting. However, Shaw University is the first HBCU in the south of the United States. So it is a historically black campus, and it makes it a little easier on the eyes when I walk around campus and I see people who may not sound like me, but who look like me. And that helped me settle in as well. Before I came to the United States, my aunt, she also went to HBCU. And before, she said, if you come to the United States to study, you have to go to a HBCU. And at the time, I didn't understand. But now that I'm at a HBCU, I completely understand why she said that. Like the culture and everything, it's just so much to explain in just a short space of time. But that's what really helped me settle in. Like the HBCU culture, it's a lot of different things that basically make up the HBCU black experience that I would say has helped me settle in.
So you've left Barbados. How many years have you been there now?
This is my fourth and final year.
Your fourth and final year. So now for 4 years, you've immersed yourself into this American culture. And so what differences about you have you recognized?
I've actually realized that, sometimes we have a little culture clash because I guess, like you would say, we're raised different here than we are over here. I've come to learn a lot about myself, I've come to realize that also that we're not much different, that we all sometimes have the same quote-unquote black struggles and stuff like that. I've come to have more so like, before we used to have a certain view about maybe a certain view about black Americans, but it's helped me remove my bias, like being immersed in this culture. I realized that, like, we're really all the same. That's something that I really realized about myself. I'm no better than anyone else. Like, we're all really the same in this world.
You were here naturally. And,
Yes,
you smile because you know where I'm going with this. If you were here, you would have had a different response from how you were accepted there. What did people say to you when they saw your hair for the first time and the way you choose to wear it?
Actually, they used to say that they love my hair. Like I said before, it's a HBCU. Like, black culture is the biggest thing on the campus. So it's like you can see people walking around with braids, people walking around with locks, flat tops, short cuts, bald cuts, dyed hair. Like, it's not like hair is basically like like an expression of themselves as well. So to me, if they see my hair, they say, "Oh, I love your locks." Or before I started locking my hair, I had twists. So they say, "Oh, I love your twists," and they say, "Oh, thank you." Like, it was never the case like, "Oh, your hair is so long," XYZ. Like, they loved it, and it was the norm around campus to see it.
We hear nowadays so many horror stories coming out of the United States about how people of color are being treated by law enforcement officers. Have you ever experienced any kind of disparity in the way you're treated versus how other people are treated at all by any law enforcement official?
I can't say I have personally, not directly. I remember my freshman year, my previous advisor, he took us downtown to watch a movie, and I remember we were walking back to campus because the school is like in the middle of downtown Raleigh, and I remember this police officer drove by, but he drove like pretty slow. Like, when he saw just the group of us walking, and like my advisor, he was a white guy, of course, he had to wave to them and say, "Hey, like, are you guys okay?" And then afterwards, he was going on that round. Like, he can't believe the police officer slowed down. That's probably like the closest thing I ever came to, experiencing any kind of racism from a police officer, I would say. I've been very fortunate because I've seen it happen around me.
Well, you're very fortunate indeed. Now, you are there, and for 4 years you've been there, and I'm sure keeping up with what's happening in Barbados also might have affected your perspective on who we are as a people in Barbados. What do you think you know differently now about the Barbadian spirit that you perhaps didn't know if you were living in Barbados?
I would say that Barbadians are an extraordinary people and that we are strong. I would say that we are very strong. Watching how we have reacted to the COVID-19 pandemic versus how people over here have reacted, I would say that we are also very disciplined as well. You know, there are little hiccups every here and there, but for the most part, we have kept COVID under wraps mostly. And I'm very proud of us. Like, I realize that Barbadians are a very disciplined people. I'm very, very proud people. Like, you know, like watching here and talking to some of my classmates and stuff, and they're saying, "Oh, I don't believe they're trying to put us back on a curfew, or they don't want us to go to these large gatherings." And I'm saying, like, guys, do you not understand the severity of the issue? But back home, it's like you said that to people back home. They say, "Okay, we understand. We're in this together." So it's like it's just the difference in that alone makes me understand. You know, that Barbadians are very, very vigilant and very, very strong people.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, you are a student of Harrison College. What was your primary school?
I went to Erdison Primary and then it went on to George Lamming Primary.
Erdison, George Lamming, on to Harrison College. And where in Barbados are you from?
I'm from St. Thomas, Cane Garden.
Oh, Cane Garden. I was waiting patiently for you to tell me that. So, because a lot of them know that are watching this morning, you say, look at Jerome. Jerome is such a nice young man now. He's grown up and he's all the way over there doing well for himself. So, Jerome, how do you deal with being Barbadian and wanting to remain Barbadian and eat the Barbadian way, that kind of thing? How do you manage that?
So luckily there are a couple of Barbadians in my area. In my freshman year, there were a couple that used to be, at St. Augustine's University. It's like 5 minutes away. It was like Tia Donna Jones and some other sprinters. Bert Hart Ellis Jr., he was around the corner for me as well. And then now there are some new Barbadians who are also at St. Augustine University. They're running track and some of them playing volleyball. And that helps me, you know. Sometimes I'll go visit them. We'd hang out, you know. Remember some of his Independence Days we would spend together. So just little things like that help, you know, keep the bond. During August, there used to be like a quote-unquote carnival, Raleigh Carnival here downtown. You know, I remember I was downtown one time and I saw I think it was a Barbadian Tourism Authority giving out Shirley biscuits. So that helps too. That helps too.
Of course, you got in line, right?
Oh, definitely.
That is wonderful. You are such an inspiring young man, Jerome. So what's your best advice to other young men your age right now who are determining what they want to do with their life? What would you want to say?
I would say to those little kids, never stop chasing your dreams, you know, no matter what anyone may say. For me, coming through the Barbados Soccer Academy, I was never the best soccer player, but I was always the hardest working. And I believe that, you know, the old saying, hard work really does pay off. So even if you may not be the best at something, but hard work beats talent. So I like to that little kid out there, you know, I want you to look at yourself and say, I may not be the best at this, but I'm gonna work my butt off. I'm gonna work hard.
Well done.
I'm gonna be determined and I'm gonna achieve my goal. I'm gonna achieve my goals.
That's all right, Jerome. I understand. Thank you so much, Jerome Boyce, for joining us this morning. We want you to know, Jerome, for us, you are one of our exceptional young people. We'll continue to support you from here. I know once you finish your studies there, you're going to fly over the world, really doing great things. So we want to thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Jerome Boyce is his name. He's Mr. Shaw University. Time for us to take a look at now at our good decision of the day today, brought to you by Glucerna. Remember, nutrients to support your immune system. We invite you today, when you make that decision, to weigh the pros and the cons. Every decision has pluses and minuses to consider. Some are obvious, while others can only be discerned through a careful analysis of the facts, under knowledge gleaned from experience, the advice of trusted friends, loved ones, or family members, co-workers, or experts. You're getting close to the point where you'll be able to decide. So make sure to weigh the pros and the cons of the action that you're about to take. That's our good decision of the day, brought to you by Glucerna, nutrients to support your immune system. A break, and when we come back, the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's a minute after 7 o'clock. Let's bring you up to date with the news now. History is likely to be created at the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games, and it could be the first ever to ban spectators. As of yesterday, no one other than those on the various Olympic teams' contingents will be allowed in Tokyo for the Summer Olympiad, owing to the global pandemic. The local organizing committee released the updated playbook yesterday, and no spectators from outside of Japan will be allowed, and the decision of Japanese spectators is still pending. Organizers are at this point very open to blanking all spectators, and Director with the Barbados Olympic Association, Dr. Adrian Lord, says it's an understandable option.
We don't know yet if there will be spectators. That decision will be made in June this year. A playbook came out yesterday, April 28th. It's the second playbook by a group of persons, the local organizing committee, the World Health Organization, International Olympic Committee, and the International Paralympic Committee. They've been looking and they put out this book, and there have been modifications. And their recommendation at this time is no spectators. But that is going to not make the games what the games really are. It is necessary at this time. Only 1% of the Japanese population at this time have been vaccinated against COVID-19. It is a pandemic, and we're having countries from all over the world. And we need to minimize the contact. We wouldn't want to have any persons having the worsening the situation in Japan or taking back to their countries COVID-19 when they return. If there are no spectators, then of course that would be a deterrent because we're going to limit the spectators if there are any. But yes, I would hope that athletes will want to go to the games despite these recommendations and regulations in place, because it is what it is. This is what the world is now, and they're being competing without spectators in some of the training and some of the competitions, the qualifying competitions, and this will just be another, which means CBC TV and television coverage will be even more important, so that we can see what's going on in Tokyo 2020, happening in 2020.
Well, that's a big story today. Remember, you can join us at 12 noon for the CBC News Day. We're taking a break. When we come back, your Crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
7 o'clock time for today's Crumbs question of the day. You get a chance to call us now and become a winner. Call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. Once you correctly answer the question, you are a winner. The question is, what is the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery. Gotcha good. What is the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Can you figure it out? What's the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery? Get it right and you become a winner today with Crumbs Bakery. Remember, they are really good down to the last crumb. Right. She is 22 years old. She is a beauty and she has stunned the world. She's made all of us proud. Her name is Kayla Harwood. Good morning to you, Kayla.
Good morning, person. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine as I can be.
Oh, that's great. Where are you now?
I'm in London.
Wow. Girl, to hear yourself say that at 22 years old, does it shock you that you're saying, I'm in London?
It's surreal. I mean, just a couple months ago, I was in Barbados, and then I traveled to so many places in the last 3 months that, you know, I'm just thankful for the experience, actually.
Wow. So where have you been?
So first I traveled to Miami, and then from Miami I went to Germany, and then from Germany to Milan in Italy, and now I'm in London. So who knows what's next?
But something magical happened for you, Kayla. I mean, it makes me smile because it is almost like a fairy tale come true. Did you see at any point in your life till now that this opportunity would be in your grasp?
Well, you know, I'm a believer, so I always believe that, you know, I could do anything that I want to do, really. And it was obviously a shocker for me because it happened fast. It was my first international runway show. And because it's Gucci, Gucci is every girl's dream, you know, every girl wants to be a Gucci girl. So in terms of knowing specifically that it would have been Gucci, no, but I always reached for, you know, as high as I could.
Wow. But you were first a model here on the Barbados scene, and then one day you were spotted here in Barbados. Who was it that said, there's something about her that we need to harness?
Well, actually, I did College Runway. It's a show put on by Harrison College, and the night of the show after I won, a representative from the management team at Goodall Model Management approached me. And from there, just a couple months later, when I was about 15 years old, I sent to Goodall Model Management.
And you've been modeling ever since then. So what is it that happened a couple months ago that got you, first of all, to travel overseas? So who was it? Were you the one who said, I have a passport, so you know what, I'm buying a plane ticket, I'm going, I try my luck. Was that it?
Well, what actually happened was that, you know, because I'm a student as well, so I was in Barbados and doing online school, and I just wanted to take the opportunity, you know, all the free time that I have to, you know, get going. So I just decided to start getting my stuff together. Spoke to my agent, Graham, and I did like my Polaroids, which is like, you know, just plain photos to send out. And we did, and Nomad, my agency in America, they wanted to send me right away, and then everything just kind of picked up from then. And they connected me to my agency in Italy, which is Fabrica, and Fabrica immediately said, we want to bring her to Italy. And I literally ended up there in a couple of days after that.
And ever since then, your world has been a whirlwind of activity for you. So I want to hear about the day that you got the news that you will be featured on the runway for Gucci. Tell me about that.
I was absolutely astonished. I couldn't even believe it, you know, because the casting period, there were so many girls. It was crazy. It wasn't just, you just don't go and they said, okay, hurry, you have to go and you have to audition like anything else. So when I found out that I was confirmed for the show, I was so ecstatic, and obviously I had to keep it a secret. But I wanted to tell everybody, but I had to keep it a secret for a little bit. I told my close friend, of course, and obviously my agents would have known. But it was just, I was just ecstatic, to be honest.
Somewhere I read that, you know, having done it, you went home and you just collapsed in excitement. It was just so much for you to carry. Did that really happen?
Yes, yes, because when you find out the news, well, for me it was okay. you know that you're confirmed for the show, but you actually have to do the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that period of time where I had to hold in the excitement a little bit and just zero in on what I actually had to do, because Gucci is a big deal, you know. It was their 100th anniversary, and production was major. So while I wanted to be all excited for the entire time, for me it was still work, you know. So I still had to concentrate on what I needed to do. But once it was over and it was a done deal, it kind of bomb rushed me. I just stepped into the room and I just couldn't believe that I was just a part of, you know, such a big show. And it just literally, I was just so overwhelmed that I was like, oh my goodness. And yeah, that's literally how it went.
So here it was, you have been booked to walk the catwalk for Gucci. Then you had to show up on the night, and you know you're there in the background, and your knees are probably knocking because you're seeing all of these other beautiful people all around you, people who you probably would have known by browsing some magazines and so forth. And here it is, you from little Barbados, you have the opportunity to do this. That must have been nerve-wracking.
Honestly, I wouldn't say that I was completely nervous. As I said, the casting for me was the nervous part. When I actually had to go and audition to you know, confirm a spot in the show, for me that was kind of nerve-wracking, but it took a lot of mental preparation.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wasn't as nervous as I thought it would be, because I got it OCD. I you know, mentally prepared myself. I said, okay, you know what you're going to do. They already saw your pictures, they know what you look like, so it's just you to go out and present yourself, you know.
There you are on the screen walking, and you know, when you get a chance to look at yourself doing what you do and doing it so well, what do you feel when you watch yourself?
Well, I mean, I could appreciate, you know, but I also always look to improve, you know, like I could see certain things that I need to improve on. It's just always a learning experience for me, because I'm so new. Remember, I started my international career 3 months ago. So I'm still, you know, always improving, always looking for, you know, stuff to change, and just always trying to give it my all. But other than that, I'm comfortable. I feel proud of myself because I know it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. You know, we now know you for this, but you're also, you know, there's another side of you a lot of people probably don't know about. You're studying. So tell us a little bit about your studies and how you're managing the fame and your studies.
Well, luckily for me, you know, the COVID experience has presented an opportunity for me to do both. And it's just a matter of finding time. Just finding time, like any little time I can have to, you know, complete assignments or do quizzes or anything. It just came natural to me, to be honest. I've always been involved in a lot of stuff. I did sports when I was younger, I did netball, track. You know, it was always saturated. So no, it's just a matter of always finding the balance.
Mm-hmm. So how are you keeping your head straight, though, you know, because this is a big deal. This is a big day, Kayla. So how are you making sure that you remain humble and focused and, you know, to do your mommy and grandmommy proud?
I mean, I think generally I'm a humble person. I mean, I know I talk to my family a lot, you know, although they're very supportive and they're more excited than I am, actually. You know, it's just they're the ones that keep me grounded, you know. Like I know where I come from, I know myself, so I know it's a big deal, but at the same time, it's still me.
You're still you. You're still you.
Still
Where in Barbados are you from?
Well, I'm a country girl, so I'm from the north of the island.
Talk to me straight. Where you from? St. Andrew.
I'm from St. Andrew. Yeah.
You're lucky.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to tell me you're from St. Lucie, because then you would have a big supporter in me. So hey, we're northern people. That's fantastic. So you're from St. Andrew, and I'm sure everybody in St. Andrew who is watching right now, they're thinking, oh, we are so proud of you. You're so very, very immensely proud of you. Do you get a chance to talk to your agents here in Barbados, the Gadal Model Management?
Oh yeah, we communicate a lot, actually. All of my agents work together. It's not like a one system thing. Everybody's talking, everybody knows what I'm doing at the same time. Everybody knows my steps, and they're all working together. So
You know, there's a big organization around you now because you're not just the ordinary girl anymore. You are our superstar who walked for Gucci. And I'm so pleased with everything that you're doing. Now, there are lots of young girls who are watching who are saying, she's beautiful, I'm beautiful, she's tall, I'm tall, and therefore I think I can. What advice would you want to give to them?
Well, my advice is to, just firstly know yourself, try to be yourself, and there's room for all of us, The avenues aren't as straightforward as people think. Like, there's limit, but just try to get your stuff there, send out your pictures, and just be ready. The opportunity is there for all of us. It's not just me. Although I'm the first, I don't wish to be the last.
I love that. Although I'm the first, I don't wish to be the last. Come join Kayla Harwood. She is our superstar, really stunning indeed, and she walked for Gucci. Now we've been able to celebrate you right here on Morning Barbados and all that you've been able to achieve. We really want to thank you for setting the record straight for all of them out there who didn't believe that we got it. We got it, girl. We got it in you. And so we want to continue to support you. And for today, we salute you as one of our exceptional young people on Barbados. And we encourage you to continue doing very well what you are doing, Kayla, here. We're very, very proud of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Have a good day in London.
Have a good morning. See you.
All right. There you go. See, anything is possible. Everything is possible. Set your mind to it, as Kayla told you, and you will achieve it indeed. A big thank you today to Gadal Model Management Incorporated for facilitating this, and we are so very pleased with the work that you've been able to put out. All right. I think we probably have a winner to today's Crumbs question of the day. Let's check in to find out. You remember the question, everybody? It was simple. The question is, what is the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery? That's the question. What is the answer? Here it is. It's only $5.50. For $5.50 at Crumbs Bakery, you will get 10 salt breads. $5.50. Mary Rock. You like your bread, Mary Rock, congratulations to you. Mary, you are today's winner of our Crumbs question of the day. Enjoy your salt bread, Mary. $5.50 you pay for 10 salt breads from Crumbs Bakery. She's a winner, you can be too. Remember, tomorrow, God spare life, we'll have another Crumbs question of the day. But when you go to Crumbs today, you become an instant winner because Crumbs is delicious right down to the last crumb. We'll take a break right here. When we come back, it's time to make a winner out of our Tots to Teens in our Spell It.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time for Spell It with Pediasure. Are you going to spell it in 30 seconds?
So let's see if you can. You have a chance to call me now on 228-5562 or 228-5563. The little ones, those tots to teens, it's your turn to win with Pediasure. Remember, Pediasure is great for the little ones. It comes in at least 3 flavors that I know of. If there's another, you need to let me know. There's strawberry, there's vanilla, and there's chocolate. And you should see the children just drink it. It's delicious, but it's also quite nutritious. So get your Pediasure, your bottles of Pediasure today, and feed the children, those who are a little picky at eating. It'll be good for them. So time for you little ones to win Tots to Teens up to 19 years old. Call me now on 228-5562 or 228-5563. I'll give you a word and you'll have 30 seconds. You can stumble on that word, that's all right. You'll have 30 seconds to pick yourself up and get going again. And when you call, just listen to the telephone. Do not listen to your TV. It'll confuse you. So just listen to your telephone. So let's try 228-5562 or 228-5563. A chance for you to win today. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your first name?
Aiden.
Aiden. Good morning, Aiden. How old are you?
10 years old.
All right, Aiden, you can handle this word. Can you spell for me, Aiden, the word university? University. Ready?
UNVERSITY. T-Y.
No, try again. Try again. You have 30 seconds. Have some more time. University. University.
University.
Who helped you? Aiden, who helped you?
Nobody.
Well done, Aiden. Congratulations. You got it absolutely right, Aiden, for spelling correctly. University. There it is on your screen, folks. So, Aiden, what school are you with now?
Pardon me?
What school do you go to now?
Garden Waters Primary School.
All right. So, you're in somewhere in St. Philip area. And so, what school do you want to go to once you finish your common entrance?
Foundation.
Okay. That's not bad. Coleridge and Parry is better, but foundation is not bad at all. Aiden, thank you so much. Stay on the phone. Don't put down Aiden. Aiden is winning today. He's winning with Pediasure because he was able to correctly spell for us the word university. He's 11 years old, a student of the Gordon Walters Primary School. He's hoping to go to the foundation school, and so we want to give him every support as well. Reading, folks, reading is critical. We're taking a break. When we come back, more of our exceptional youth.
That was Spell It, brought to you in association with Pediasure.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're continuing to celebrate the best of who we are this morning with our exceptional youth, and this one is one who is multidisciplinary, and I'm so pleased today to introduce you to this stunning beauty in herself, Miss Jay Clark. Good morning to you, Jay.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad at all.
You're perky enough in the morning, girl. Have you had your tea?
I'm so surprised. I'm normally not so early.
Well, I'm glad that you are. Thank you so much for joining us. I love one thing that you say about yourself. You said you want to live a life that is less ordinary. Life less ordinary. Why do you say that?
I would say because from about 6 years old, I decided that dance was my career and that's what I wanted to focus on. And it was very hard going to like different job fairs and not seeing anybody there to speak to me on those kind of paths or to how to get through my journey. So I always felt like it was very different and I just lived that way.
Well, that's interesting. At such a young age, 6 years old?
6. Well, dance has been in my face from the time I was born. My mom's a dancer. I grew up in a dance studio called Dance Strides Barbados. So dance has always been like right there. But from the time of 6, I remember just saying like, this is it. Like, I'm going to work hard to do this and make sure that I'm good at this.
You're so lucky because you had a mother who is also into dance. But you know, there's some other young people who have a passion for something, but somehow their parents don't get it.
I was so lucky because I have a dad who's a graphic designer too as well. So I was just full of the arts in the family.
Well done indeed. So I'm sure they were very supportive of you all the way through.
The whole journey, yes.
Now, Sharon Trotman also had a hand in training you and molding you into this extraordinary dancer that you are.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. I'm Sharon.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, and I've been able to teach at her school. So it wasn't just my dance development, but she was also very interested in my teaching development. And I realized that I do enjoy teaching as well. And she supported that fully.
That's great. So how long have you, okay, since 6 or so you were dancing. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I actually started dancing at Dance Rise Barbados around 3 years old. My first show, I decided not to dance, but I was training. I did the whole dress rehearsal and everything, but the night I was like, no, I don't think this is my time yet. But yeah, it was from 3 years old I actually started going to class once a week. Yeah.
So how old are you now?
I'm now 26. I think of that.
Young girl. Yeah, I know what you mean. If you ever ask me my age, I'm lost as well. I have to go back to when I was born and do the calculations. So I know what you mean. It happens like that. So you've been dancing, but you know, dancing in itself, you know, a lot of people don't quite understand it. Because we see movements and we're trying to figure out, what is that? What are you saying when you do that? You kick a fucking foot in the air, one hand goes over there. What does that mean? So understanding the language of dance, how is it for anyone who wants to get into dance to understand that?
Dance is an interpretation. So I wouldn't say that when one person sees a dance, they're like, or if 5 people see a dance, they're all going to see the same thing from that one dance. Like they're going to have different interpretations from their past lives, as well as what's actually being put in front of them. But that's what I love about dance, that your movement could tell so many different stories based on how people see it or absorb it.
Mm-hmm. And you've been doing all of this I call it interpretive dancing now, before some very important people. You've got a very stellar career thus far.
Yeah, I've been out there just pushing myself, so I've been grateful for all the opportunities that I've been able to receive. But yeah, I was living in Jamaica for 3 years after I graduated from the Edmani College, and I was able to live a full-time dance life. So not only teaching and training for myself, but also being able to be a part of music videos and commercials and road shows and all kind of different stuff, because I enjoy all types of dance. So it's not just ballet, modern. I enjoy hip hop. I enjoy dancehall. I love dancehall. So dance for me is a full expression. So it doesn't matter what type of music is on. I love to express to it.
So it must have been interesting trying to get you to sit at a table in the classroom. You know how to do the traditional education. How was that for you?
Luckily, I went to private schools that kind of nurtured that, for sure. It wasn't easy because I'm always like, there doesn't even need to be music playing. I'm going. And it was hard to like sit down and be like, okay, this is what you need to be doing right now, but I made it through it.
And so your success today. Now,
yeah.
What's next for you, J. Clark, in terms of dance? What do you want to achieve?
In terms of dance, after I finished my BFA, I really wanted to get out there and perform and be a part of a touring company, and I was able to still be a part of the CADCO and also Create for the Arts, where they have a show in Jamaica. They invite a lot of international dancers to perform on the same stage. But now that I've done that, I still want to continue doing that, but I'm here in Barbados and I'm really trying to develop my dance. And that's just because of the journey that I went through, and I feel like any other dancers coming up, not necessarily they're not going to have challenges, because this whole career is challenge after challenge, but to make the journey a little smoother and also to bring opportunities. So last November, I was actually able to put together a dance battle. It was a one-on-one dance battle, and dancers were able to. And I find like dance battles, it's not a competitive thing as much as you are battling somebody. It's more that you're trying to bring out the best in yourself at that present moment. It's freestyling. You don't know what song's gonna come on, so it was a really cool opportunity to be able to get all of these different factors together, not just the dancers, but the lighting, the stage, the same DJs, to ensure that the vibe was right. I chose to do voting by crowd, so the crowd had little batons that had different colors to choose who they thought danced that song better. Right. And that was my first event that I ever planned outside of school, and I was so happy with the turnout, and it's really pushed me and fueled the fire in me to like all the dreams and stuff that I think is necessary to fight for. I'm definitely about to fight for it. and for the dancers on this island.
I like what you're doing because you're making it dance accessible, you're making dance understandable and appreciable as well. Because, as I said, sometimes you sit and you're watching, you're wondering, okay, what are they doing? Hurry up and get off the stage because I don't quite get what you're doing here. But you're saying to me now you're applying it in different scenarios, in different situations, to different in different contemporary ways. So each of us at any stage can appreciate it for what it is and celebrate the creativity that it truly is. So the life of a dancer, though, the life of a dancer comes with its own challenges because, heaven forbid, knock some wood, anything could happen. It comes crashing to an end. So what advice would you want to give to any youngster, be it female or male, who thinks, I want to get involved in that, but they are not aware of all of the things that they need to have around them to ensure that they have longevity?
Yeah, I would say for sure, complete control of your self-awareness, because there's good pain and there's bad pain, especially with stretching and being in a class. And if you're not fully aware, center on yourself, a lot of stuff you can just be flinging around, and that's what causes injuries. So I'd say for somebody who's like trying to get into dance, yeah, going to classes is necessary, but also figuring out for yourself, how long does it take me to get warm? How long does it take for me to catch a sequence? Like, there's certain things that you just have for yourself, you have to sit down and figure it out, and it's not just going to appear in a class. For sure.
But you know, the arts in our education system, I want to hear your opinion on this, because oftentimes it's not considered to be a very serious approach. It is the extra thing you do when you have some time after school. And what would you want to see about the arts, dance, and any other forms of creativity included in our curriculum? What would you want to see?
I want to talk on the side of dance because that's just the industry that I've been working in. And I think it's time that we have so many talented people on this island, and it's not just because of these teachers that we've had, because we have amazing teachers on this island, but the fact that it's always an after-school thing. And not only is it after-school, it's for the people who can afford to pay the after-school schools. What about the curriculums in the schools where dance is not, yes, everybody's not going to want to be a professional dancer, but dance teaches so many other tools that help develop the brain, help develop personality. So I feel like it's time that we take initiative and actually get a curriculum, put together a curriculum that can actually go into schools, that dance becomes a timetable, same as music, how music is on the timetable and visual arts is on the timetable. I think it's time that we can implement dance into the timetables. And I don't think it's very hard, simply because we already have the CXC program, which is in some secondary schools, and then we also have the BCC program, dance program, which I went through, which is an amazing program. So we have students coming out with knowledge. So where do they apply the knowledge after they finish school? Like, everybody's not going to go into the private schools and teach. So what is the next step in terms of the development of dance? Because you already have the CXC, you have the BCC program, they have the dance center down at EBCCI where you learn creative arts. So the parts before that, the primary and the development of the whole thing needs to have a structure, and I think it's time that we can figure that out.
That's at you now, girl. J. Clark, that's your responsibility now to figure it out, to agitate.
Yes, for sure.
I have no problem. Now, can anybody dance? Does everyone have rhythm?
Yeah, everybody's a dancer, but it takes, as I said, it's a very self-awareness kind of thing. It's not, naturally my gift was I could see and mimic, and I kind of like can just do it from just looking, but that doesn't happen for everybody. They kind of have to understand what the movement really is. Maybe if there's a story behind it, then it helps to connect the dots. But I definitely believe that everybody's a dancer. Like,
listen,
the rhythm thing, the rhythm thing.
I once had to do the waltz, right? And I'll tell you, even in trying to understand the dance waltz and the steps, I was constantly in my mouth saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What? Even on the night we had to perform, I was just saying it aloud because I would lose my place if I didn't go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It was just so funny. So there are some people who naturally fall in line and get it right, and then there are others who, like me, you know, they're like diamonds in a rough, so you have to take some time to really deal with them, right? Jay, I'm so pleased to meet you this morning. You are for us one of our exceptional young people. You're dancing your way into the stars, and certainly we want to commend you on all that you're doing. Your experience is one that this island needs, and I hope over time that you're able to show that experience in a very significant way to make a big difference to our young people and upcoming dancers as well. So Jay Clark, we celebrate you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Right. Big up yourself, everybody. Morning Barbados.
I like that. Big up yourself, everybody. You too, Jay Clark. Have a great day. Thank you so much. She too is one of our exceptional young people this morning. Boy, they are so creative and they are so available. And it just goes to show that if we just take the time sometimes, we'll get to you get to know who they are and hopefully encourage who they are as well. We're going to take a break right here, and we encourage you now to consider Charles Chocolate.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
23 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Our next exceptional youth is quite young, and as a matter of fact, he is an outstanding triathlete as well. His name is Luke Mcintyre. Good morning to you, Luke Mcintyre.
Good morning.
Good morning, Luke. I hope to see you very soon. Luke, congratulations first of all on all that you're doing. I'm so pleased that at such a young age, you have the capacity to do 3 disciplines all in once and succeed at it. So well done, Luke.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. So what got you started in all 3 disciplines to become a triathlete?
Well, I started off from a very young age after seeing my dad compete in all 3, the triathlon, the national triathlon. So I guess I gained interest from there, and I did all 3 sports separate as well from before then. So it would have given me the inspiration to start doing triathlon.
You've been to the St. Gabriel School, you're now at Harrison College, but while all of this is happening, you two also traveled to Jamaica to represent this island in 2019. So tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, so it was Curacao, 2019 triathlon. It was, I believe, the 3rd year that they've had it. And so we went through a qualifying group of events here in Barbados to decide who would go on the team. And I was picked, and so I went to Curacao and placed first in triathlon and first in the Aquathalon event. And then the triathlon event came before the Aquathalon event there, so it was like a weekend of racing.
You must have been exhausted at the end of that weekend.
Yeah. Even going into the Aquathalon, I was pretty exhausted from cheering other teammates and that kind of stuff on as well after my race.
Now, we can understand the triathlon, you know, you swim, you cycle, you run. How does the aquathalon work?
So the aquathalon is swimming first and then running. So it's just the 2 parts without the cycling, so it just means you don't have the riding in there.
Now to my mind, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lou.
Okay. Sometimes you'll find people do better in the aquathalon over the triathlon because you get tired from the portion of the bike onto the run and that kind of stuff. So that's just really, it makes it like a different sport almost.
Because you're going exactly where we wanted to ask you next, which is how do you build your own capacity? Because there's a lot of energy you're going to have to expend when you're doing the triathlon and even the aquathalon. So how do you get your body ready, physically fit, to be able to do all of those and to be able to endure it really to the end?
Yeah, well, it requires a lot of training and stuff like that. I do, I think, 12 sessions a week when I train. That's usually a good week. But, you know, you have to fuel yourself correctly, drink a lot of water, eat the right things, and yeah, just generally manage yourself a lot better because you have to think about what happens if you don't. And so I think keeping good care with your schedule and how you treat yourself makes you a lot better, and it's a big point. And you have to keep fit and in shape. And so I do strength training as well as the three other disciplines to make up those 12 every week.
Do you only compete with your age group, or have you tried competing with older athletes as well?
Well, in triathlon, I only compete in my age group, or at least the age group I can compete in, with the exception of a race I did in Antigua, where my age group had less people and it was 9 to 10. But I did the 9 to 10 race, won that, and then went and did the 11 to 12 race and won that as well, in short succession. But that's one of the only races I did that for triathlon. But in running and swimming, sometimes the age categories aren't 11 to 12 or 9 to 10, so it ends up being like a under 15. That's when I would compete like that.
You're not at Harrison College. What form are you in? First or second?
First form. I'm in first form.
You're in first form. And so you're looking right down the barrel of your whole life straight ahead. You want to be able to make a decision. What do you think you'd want to be eventually, you know, as you grow up and take on a profession? What do you want to be?
I'm not entirely sure yet. I have a lot of ideas in mind and that kind of stuff. But any kind of like entrepreneurship and that kind of stuff I've been quite interested in. Like buying and selling things and that kind of stuff I've already done. So I can get stuff that would actually help me with triathlon, like swimming goggles and stuff like that. So I think that would interest me, but I'm not committed to anything just yet.
Not just yet, but you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, buying and selling. And so far, you've been doing such. What are you selling?
Well, I've gone goggles, bringing in goggles, lock laces, which is something we put on our shoes instead of normal shoelaces, which, if you know how to use them, makes it faster than tying your laces. So I brought those in, and people around the community, the triathlon community and the swimming community have helped me in that way. So I put a little investment in from stuff like birthday money, which I don't usually spend, and turned it over
to invest into your own.
Pretty big profit from that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. But you know, what do you do for fun, Luke?
Well, I like just watching some videos on YouTube. I call my friends and that kind of stuff. We even go over by some of their houses. It's nice going to the beach for fun as well. Not going there with the swimming in mind and that kind of stuff. But then a lot of the activities I can do while having time to do it for fun. So if I go for a longer, easy run, I'm not panting and breathing hard. I can be talking and that kind of stuff, and I enjoy that as well, while it's giving me personal benefit.
That's so good to hear. You're so mature in your thinking already. So I'm also told that you are also really good at spelling. At some point in time, you were part of a big spelling bee competition, and you did really well.
Yeah.
So that means that you love to read, huh?
Yeah, I really enjoy reading. That's another thing I do for fun. I've done it for a long time. And the books that I read have been progressive and that kind of stuff. But it really helps me with stuff that I do in school as well.
Yes. What was the last good book that you read, Luke?
Well, I found a book called Ali Cross, which is basically portraying the son of Alex Cross, the detective. So his son is a detective too, so it's a pretty long book, about 400 pages, But I'm still reading that right now, and it's actually pretty interesting.
You just can't put it down, right?
No, I can't. Yeah, when I start reading it, I can.
You have school this morning, I suppose, online?
Yeah, yeah, I have online school this morning in Nursing College.
How is that going for you, being able to complete your online schooling?
Well, when it comes to online schooling, there are difficulties like connection sometimes from teachers' end and students' end. But personally, I prefer it over a hybrid system where you're in school half the time, online half the time. And I'm not really sure if I prefer it to work-wise. I think I prefer it to in school actually, just because I like the ability to write something, a document online, submit it online, and that kind of stuff. And I feel like you can get more out of a lesson that way if it's done perfect. But right now, I think I would prefer in school teaching versus over online teaching with the way the system is right now. So I've been handling it.
Yeah, I understand. That's good. With the pandemic and the restrictions, beach access, when to get off the road and so forth, all of those protocols that were put in place, did it impact on your ability to keep fit and to train at the sport that you like?
It did, but there were a lot of solutions that we had to those problems. So, for example, for cycling, we have smart trainers. You can put your bike on this trainer and you can ride stationary. So that took care of the cycling, especially when you couldn't go out. Swimming. The swimming kind of stagnated a bit because we didn't have the sea or any pools open. We do have a small pool at our house, and when we really needed to get a swim in, we could use an infinity pool-like setup. So you tie something on your ankle and you swim stationary again. And for running, we have a stretch of road by our house, or the cane fields around our house, so we'd go running on trails.
Right.
So we ended up getting all three in the end.
Well, Luke, we're so very proud of you today. Luke Mcintyre, one of our budding athletes. He's a triathlete, and certainly he is doing very, very well, winning many awards. And I mean, the list is so long and extensive. So, Luke, we want to salute you this morning as one of our exceptional young people. And we want to encourage you to continue finding a way to be the star that you are already. And we wish you every success in the future.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Luke Mcintyre is his name, and triathlon's his game. We're taking a break right here. When we come back, that little one who had a chance to ask a question of those NASA astronauts, she'll join us. Our next exceptional young person is 7 years old, and believe me, she has something to say. Her name is Winnie Rose Jordan. Good morning to you, Winnie Rose Jordan.
Good morning.
You're so cute. Good morning, Winnie Rose. I love your hair to begin with. Look at that. Is that your decision of your style?
Sometimes.
when it's not done this way, how else would you want your hair done?
Okay, hold on a second.
Winnie Rose. How old are you, Winnie?
I'm 7 years old.
Okay, and you come from a very famous family. Do you know that?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your family, if you don't mind. What do you know?
What do I say?
Your grandpa's Winston Jordan.
My grandpa's Winston Jordan.
Your grandpa is Winston Jordan. We celebrated Winston Jordan. And you also have Ruby Tech. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yep. He's related to you as well. Now, you had a
He's
chance.
my uncle.
Yes, he is. You had a chance recently to be able to put a question to some very important people. Why did you choose to put a question to them?
My mom.
Your mom encouraged you to do so? Do you remember what that question was?
Volcanoes.
About volcanoes.
In
Okay.
Barbados.
All right, so I'll tell you what, we'll play you that question. I want you to look at it so you'll see and hear yourself, and then we'll talk some more after. Let's take a look at Winnie Rose's question to some NASA astronauts.
So the next question is from Winnie.
Hi, my name's Winnie. I'm from Barrow, Delaware. My question is, can you see a volcano erupting from space? My island is being affected by a volcano right now. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you for that great question, and that's great to hear your voice up here. So we actually can see volcanoes. As Mark mentioned earlier, we rotate around the Earth once every 90 minutes, so it depends on where we are in our orbit. But we are able to see them, and we're also able to see the effects that they can have. Just last week, we were trying to get photos of the plume and the ash in the atmosphere because we're so high up that we can see it from this unique vantage point.
Yeah, actually, that's very good thing. So our intention is to capture all the natural disasters happening on the ground. And actually, Icon Eye is more like a volcano hunters. So we're catching all the volcanoes. I got the Mount Etna in Italy and volcano in Kamchatka, and he's looking for the Caribbean. But we are always watching you.
Wow, Winnie, how does it feel to see that you were there interacting with these very important men who are already in space? How was that?
I was really excited.
So what do you know now about volcanoes?
That they can see them from space.
I'm told that you're also very much into the environment. You're what they call an environmental activist. Is that true?
Yeah.
Why are you so passionate about?
I wrote to 2 restaurants about the to-go containers.
And what was the response?
So, they changed them, but one of them didn't reply.
But so it's still a work in progress for you.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Vinny, you'd want to grow up to become?
I want to grow up to become an opera singer.
Ah, really? Now that's good. So who is your favorite opera singer at the moment?
What? Fumi Abada.
Yeah, who is that?
Fumi Abada.
Tell me about her.
She's a Japanese opera singer. She's also one of my mom's and dad's and my friend.
All right. So can you do a little bit of opera for me right now? I'd love to hear your voice.
No, not right now.
But you want to become an opera singer, perhaps. Why do you want to become an opera singer?
Because I like singing, and sometimes I make up my own songs on the piano.
Oh, really? So do you give names to your songs?
No, I do not.
What was the last really good song that you wrote?
What?
The last good song that you wrote.
I call it blackbirds sometimes.
Go ahead, tell me about blackbirds.
So typically it's like a mix of like fake whistling because I can't whistle and a mix of singing and piano with it.
And so you sit there before your piano and you craft this song called Blackbirds. And have you sung it for mommy or daddy yet?
The piano's in a room behind, right in front of the kitchen. So, yes, they can hear me.
They can hear you. Oh boy, you want to become an opera singer. I'm so pleased to hear that because it's a very different profession that you've chosen, you know. Often we hear little girls want to grow up to be either, you know, a model or anything of that nature, but you're a doctor like that, but you want to become an opera singer. Do you already go to any of those talent schools there in the U.S.?
No, but I do I used to do violin and theater, but I'm still doing theater, but I dropped out of violin when coronavirus hit. I'm going to go back.
Oh, you answered my question before I asked that you are going to go back. So you're really good at the violin then, do you think? Are you really good? Okay, great. Why do you think the violin is such an important instrument to learn?
I really like how it sounds and how pretty it looks.
I'm like you, girl. I love the way it sounds as well. There's nothing like the string instrument. And so those string instruments really add flavor to any song. So I'm sure as you're writing your songs at your piano, you're also thinking in your head the score with the use of the strings as well. So well done, Vinny. What an interesting name. Do people tease you about your name, your first name?
I'm named after my grandfather.
Ah, very nice. Winston Jordan, so you're named Winnie. Did you ever get a chance to meet Granddad?
No.
But you've heard all the stories about him, right?
Yeah, I saw a picture of him. I saw a picture of him holding a giant drum.
Is that all you remember of Granddad? The picture of him holding a giant drum?
Yeah, there are some other pictures.
Your grandfather was extremely talented here in Barbados, a celebrated man indeed. And so you come from that stock. So there's a lot riding on your legacy that you need to be able to fulfill as well, Miss Winnie Rose Jordan. And so today I want to thank you so much, Winnie, for talking to us here in Barbados on our morning show on CBC TV8. You're live on the internet, so everybody everywhere is seeing you. We want to wish you every success in your chosen field of becoming an opera singer, and hopefully one day you'll come to Barbados and you will perform for the people of Barbados as well. Okay? That's a promise?
Yeah,
she nods in agreement. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Winnie. Winnie Rose Jordan is her name. She's the granddaughter of the celebrated Winston Jordan. You know, the cartoonist. He's very, very creative. He used to do costume bands and stuff for Crop Over. Ruby Tech is her uncle, Winslow Jordan. And so they were happy to introduce her to us. And we were pleased to share her with you as well right here on Morning Barbados. So Winnie Rose, well done. Congratulations. Before we say bye-bye this morning, we want to look at a man who for 54 years was on this earth, on this beautiful island, who has created suits for men. He's made men look good on the streets as well. And we got the stunning news on the weekend that he'd passed away. Brother of David Davis, D2, and there he is. We're celebrating this morning Rojo. Mr. Bascom, may you rest in peace indeed. We've seen his work on the catwalk at many BMX expositions, and so his memory will live on, and we will continue to celebrate the excellence through his fashion. I'm sure a number of people are going to be wearing that today. But we also want to let you know that Hannah Chambers, who we had our tennis star, she won. You remember she was leaving here to go to a tournament? She won. Yep, she won indeed. So we want to congratulate you, Hannah. You represented us very well. You're off to Mexico soon. Congratulations. That's it for today. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.